This is Shelley Fabares. She's the star of Coach. She, of course, was the daughter on the Donna Reed Show. And she is coming to Iowa in a couple of weeks as part of the big Donna Reed Festival that's held over in Denison. And Shelley, what amazed me is that this is probably the biggest gathering of celebrities that Iowa sees each year, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is. I think it's one of the biggest gathering of celebrities that almost any state sees.
Yeah.
It's really quite a remarkable event that has grown just immeasurably over the years.
And I was also surprised how many people, as I mentioned, the festival, they'd all heard of it around here, but a lot of them didn't know what it was all about. So why don't you explain to people what the festival is?
Well, I would be delighted to, first of all. It is, as you said, it's called the Donna Reed Festival for the Performing Arts, and it is held in Donna's memory, and we do this every year where we have actors, writers, producers, directors, vocal teachers, agents, producers who come back to Iowa and teach a series of workshops in different classes. It's open to everyone in the public, anyone who wants to come. We have students from the age of about 3 or 4 to in their 80s. We have professionals. We have people who have never done anything in show business but just think it sounds like it would be interesting. And they come to the classes, and it's a very hands-on week where there's tremendous interaction between the students and the teachers, and we teach these amazing workshops taught by people who really do these things. And when this began, the people, those of us who were here at the very beginning, were all people that were directly connected with Donna. The first year that we did our workshops, the people who came back were the original creator of the Donna Reed Show, Bill Roberts, and Ethel Wynett, a casting director who had worked directly with Donna, Barbara Avedon, who was a writer who had worked with Donna in several different capacities. But since we've been going on for almost 10 years now, or actually for 10 years, it has expanded beyond that. And there are people who, in fact, never met Donna, who are now completely a part of this workshop. And
why do they come?
Well, it's very interesting. It's, as I said, the original group that came because we called them and we said, we're doing this thing. We're not even sure, to tell you the truth, what we're doing. The first year was just absolutely hysterical, Steve. We had this idea to put on these workshops, and Grover, who is the president of our foundation and was Donna's husband, Grover and I called the people back here in Los Angeles, and we said, we have no idea if anybody is even going to come to this, but we want to, and this is what we want to do. We want to put on these workshops. So literally, it always sounds like a joke, but the first year, we brought back 17 teachers, and I think we had about 9 students.
Oh, my gosh.
It was unbelievable. Grover and I were out on the streets of Denison just accosting people out on the street. Would you like to come to a class? And they looked at us if we were actually, sort of crazy, which at that point we probably, if not crazy, we were certainly crazy. But all of the people that came back that first year who accepted immediately because they had known and loved Donna and wanted to do something, for her, and everybody was very aware. You only had to know Donna for about 5 minutes before you knew about Iowa and you knew specifically about Denison.
Really?
Yes, she was really...
she went out and promoted Iowa like that?
She loved Iowa. It was a very profound part of her being. It wasn't even that she went out to promote Iowa. She simply was Iowa, and she loved it and continued to come back to Denison all during her years. She was not somebody who simply was from Iowa, from Denison, and that was her hometown and that was it. Her family still lived there, and she made many trips back during the years, and her ties were very, very strong. So it was very clear that this was a place of enormous importance to her on an ongoing basis. And for those of us who loved her so much, it was a way. Anyway, the people that came back all said after the first year, after this, in actuality, sort of a fiasco, because we had all of these teachers and practically nobody in the classes, everybody said to a person, oh, I have to come back again next year. And that has continued with every single year. I think the problem we basically only have at this point is that we have so many people that want to come back, we have to figure out classes for all of them to teach. It's really quite...
And some of the classes fill up, too, yeah. Some of those classes fill up pretty fast as well.
Oh, they do. This year we have over 60 classes, and at the present time we already have over 500 students, and we'll probably have by the time of the festival, we'll probably have, 700, 800, somewhere around there.
Shelley, how did this whole foundation get started? What did it arise from?
Well, yeah, I will answer that, but I just wanted to say one other thing. I realized I didn't actually answer your other question,
Okay.
which, for those people who actually know me, are not surprised. I know the people in Denison listening right now going, well, that's sort of appropriate for Shelley. The reason why people come back is that originally, as I said, it started out with their love and regard for Donna, but there's an experience in Iowa, and that has to do with all of you who are back there, a feeling of warmth and of embrace that is given to the people that come out from Hollywood, a feeling of belonging in the community, and it is given to us by the people of Denison just immediately after we get back there, and that's not something that a lot of us who live where we live experience very much. I think a lot of us are from smaller towns, and so for some of the people it's like going back to their hometown.
I see.
And for those of us who were not born in small towns, it's that experience that we've always heard about and longed for, and people are literally hungry for it. So it has to do with all of you and how you make us feel.
Let me. This is a question from a Midwesterner who would think it's exciting to live out in California and Hollywood and all the stuff that you do. Does it seem hick when you come back here?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. And it is exciting to live where I live. It's an interesting place to live. I enjoy it enormously. It's just a different experience. No, it does not seem hick at all. It seems exactly what people talk about. It's a place. I mean, every place has problems. I'm not talking about this with, dewy eyes and
Right.
and not being a realist, because I am. But it is a place where traditional fundamental values of decency and kindness and hard work and fairness abound. And the truth is, as I said, I love where I live, and I've lived here all my life. I was born in Santa Monica, California. Those things, to some extent, on a wide basis, seem to be lacking. On the other hand, on a wide basis, in a place like Denison and in Iowa, it seems to abound. Obviously, there are some wonderful people out here, but just on a wide basis, it does not seem to be as prevalent out here as it is back there.
So it's something you look forward to every year.
Oh, I look forward to it enormously. I really consider Iowa a second home now. I have incredibly good friends that I've made through the years back there that
Great.
are really part of my family.
You know something, Jeff? If we ever get up to Mount Owens, you're going to make a great abominable snowman.
All right, you two, stop squabbling.
That's Shelley Fabares from the very first episode of the Donna Reed Show. And what year was that, Shelley? 1957?
1958. We started shooting. Boy, that really took me back. We started shooting July 14th, Bastille Day, 1958.
And now that I watched the show, I sat and watched about 5 episodes to get ready for this interview.
Oh, did you really?
And now, is it true? I heard the rumor that Donna Reed was shot through some kind of a special filter in order to make her look a little more glamorous and sparkly.
Oh, gosh, no. She's just a simply exquisite woman.
She was that sparkly in person.
Oh, she was, I personally think, even more beautiful in person. She was just an astonishing, I mean, she certainly was gorgeous on screen, but she was an astonishingly beautiful woman. She had just incredible bone structure, and her specific features were just simply breathtakingly beautiful. And then you added to that her incredible intelligence and strength and kindness. I mean, she really was, there's a reason that those of us who knew her remain as devoted as we are. She was an extraordinary woman. Yeah,
and I'm sure you're asked all the time about the fact that so many child actors grow up to be messed up, and here you have grown up to do so many wonderful things with your life, with the Alzheimer's Foundation and Donna Reed Foundation and things like that. What makes you different?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I'm not sure what makes my experience different. I consider myself incredibly lucky. I also have worked hard and was sort of determined to have a good life, a worthwhile life and an interesting life. I think it's a combination of things. I think I had good parents. I had the luck to work with someone in very important years, the years that I worked with Donna, a woman of such, as I said, intelligence and integrity. And she was, in the days before we even knew the term role model, she was clearly my role model. And I think that was an enormous stroke of good luck for me. And I said, and then after that, I really have been determined That's not to say that the other people who'd got into trouble and had really difficult times weren't perhaps as determined as I was, but it all sort of came together for me, my determination and some of the experiences that I've had. I'm incredibly lucky. I really am.
We have Max on the line, and Max, you have met Shelley, is that right?
Hello.
Hi.
I was up in Denison to one of the concerts, and I met Shelley the next morning in a little cafe.
Yes.
My friend Candace and I got the opportunity to watch Rockapella, and the next morning we were having breakfast, and my friend struck up a conversation with the lady that was the organizer of it, and they were comparing notes about funding. And then Shelley walked by and stopped and said hi, and talked about a gorgeous-looking woman. At any rate, I just want to say hi again, Shelley. And how do you deal with Luther and Dauber?
Well, first of all, hello. It's nice to talk to you again, and I thank you again for your kind words. Boy, one of the joys of my life is dealing with Luther and Dauber, and let us not forget my beloved Hayden.
Right.
They are, I find the characters of Luther and Dauber wonderful characters. I love Jerry and Bill, who plays Dauber, and Craig. It really is a phenomenal experience. Craig is an absolutely brilliant actor, and Jerry Van Dyke, I think, is a genius and truly the funniest man I ever met. And Bill is just an extraordinary man. And it is, we just finished our 8th season, and we're starting our ninth season when we go back in August. And all of us feel, we can't believe that we've been doing it that long, and all of us feel as excited and as lucky and as happy
That's great.
as we did at the beginning.
And you've been moved around a lot, too.
Oh, we have been moved literally more than any other show in television history.
And you're getting moved again, too.
That's right. We've been moved now 13 times.
You're up to 10:30 during the week, but tonight you're on at 6. But
you're at, Shelley, you've been moved 13 times?
In 8 seasons.
Oh, my gosh.
It is an absolute wonder, and I must tell you that this week we were number 3 in the ratings.
Yeah, I saw that. That was amazing.
Which is, first of all, extraordinary for a show in its 8th year, but also for a show that part of the duty when you're watching Coach is to figure out when it's on and where it is. So it is amazing after all of this time.
And do you sit and read those ratings every week? Do you get anxious about them?
Yes, I do. Even if I hadn't been the type of person who would look at them, but I am, because that's really how a lot of it's not how you want the business to be judged, but that is how it's judged. But we call Mr. Jerry Van Dyke Mr. Television Ratings. He does not let a moment go by where he doesn't.
I'm still on the line. Can I get a word in here and I'll get off?
Real quick, Max.
Hey, Shelley, where is the cabin located?
It's actually located on the Universal soundstage. The exterior that they show, I believe, I've never been there. I believe it is located in Iowa, someplace. I'll find out before I come back to this year's festival.
Okay.
You would think I would know that, but I've never been there, so I don't.
Because the producers are from Iowa, right? The producers of the show, didn't they go to Iowa?
Yes, they did, and that's why I'm just a little bit hesitant, because all of the beginnings of the show, which are supposed to be Minnesota State, that's all in Iowa.
Right.
And so basically everything, I think, was shot around there. But I'll find out.
Great.
And get the word to you, Steve. And
Great.
You can maybe
One more quick word, then I'll get out of here. I love Coach, and I love the job you're doing on it, and I watch it every time I get a chance.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Max.
Thanks so much.
Shelley, I was going to read from this week's Entertainment Weekly. I don't know if you read your own reviews.
No.
It didn't really say a lot of positive things about Coach. It said it's kind of its time has come and gone. But it did say here in the middle of it, Craig Nelson's co-star Shelley Fabares as Hayden's wife Christine is both charming and a bona fide baby boomer icon for her role as the eldest daughter in the Donna Reed Show, as well as her incandescent 1962 pop hit Johnny Angel. And this review just raves about you.
You're kidding.
No, isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful. I'm very touched. I have to say I disagree with them about the show itself. I don't think the show at all has come and gone. I think we're very much...
if anything, this year it improved, I think,
a
little bit.
I really do agree. I hope I'm not coming across defensive about the show, but I really do think the show has simply gotten better.
Yeah.
And certainly by most of the people that we've talked to and that have written to us and that I meet, because I travel a great deal through the year, people have said exactly what you said, that the show just seems to keep getting better and better.
Those critics, what do they know?
What do they know?
Yeah. Go to the phone lines. Rich from Cedar Rapids, you're on with Shelley Fabares. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Rich.
First of all, did I hear correctly that you're involved with Alzheimer's Association somehow?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I am. I'm one of the national spokespersons for Alzheimer's, and my mother had Alzheimer's, and I'm on the board of directors, and I travel. I've been working with them since 1990, and I travel. In fact, most of my time that's not spent doing coach or doing the Donna Reed Foundation work is spent doing Alzheimer's work around the country.
Thanks, I really appreciate that. My father-in-law has some sort of dementia, and anything we can do to bring that to the forefront and get some help in finding a cure for these things or prevention would be great.
Absolutely. Well, let me just say one thing, if I may, Steve, just take a quick second
Sure.
here to say, first of all, I'm really sorry about your father-in-law, and if you, in Cedar Rapids, I think we have a chapter.
Yes, we're involved with that.
Oh, good. I was just going to tell you that that's the first thing that you should do. It's really an amazing...
It's helped a lot.
Oh, good. I'm not surprised. I know that we always are, as an association, very helpful to people, so I'm glad that you're there. And I will continue to work on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
The real reason I called
Go ahead.
was to ask about, we had noticed, now we don't get to watch Coach very often, but when we have this season, we've noticed that Shelley seems to be quite hoarse. Is everything okay with you?
Yes, I'm fine now. I actually went through a period of time where I wasn't feeling very well, and if you watch the later shows, you'll hear that I sound absolutely fine. I'm totally fine now. But you're right, my voice did get very hoarse for a while, but I'm just fine now.
Great. And is the Donna Reed Show on cable at all or in syndication right now?
Actually, I'm not positive.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Rich.
One more quick call. Tony, on a cellular call, go ahead with Shelley Fabares.
Shelley.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a question for you. I love you. I think you're great.
Thank
I've got
you.
a question. I've been arguing with a friend of mine for 20 years about your last name. Can you tell me how to pronounce that?
Yes, I will. I hope you win the argument. It's Fabares.
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 Fabares?
Yes. It's as though it was spelled Fahbaray. Fabares.
Fabares.
Well, I think I'm half right. I said it was 3 syllables, and he just said it was Fabares.
No, that's actually, my aunt is Nanette
Right.
Fabares.
Right, I know that.
Right, and she changed the spelling to Fabaray so that people could pronounce it more easily, and they do say her name, Fabares, but the actual family name and the family pronunciation is Fabares.
Well, I've heard someone say Fabares once, and I thought maybe that was it.
Yes, no, that's actually what it looks like. I've received or heard almost every pronunciation that
I
one
bet.
could possibly imagine with a name, but that you have it from the horse's mouth. As
Well,
it
I
were.
have been waiting 20 years to ask
Oh,
you
my
this
God.
question. We've been arguing since the 70s about this, and now I have to tell him that we're both wrong.
Great. Thanks, Tony.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Tony.
And Shelley, I tell you, when I told my daughter that I was going to interview you, most people, when I say I'm interviewing Shelley Fabares, they say from the Donna Reed Show, and I'm surprised because I immediately would think they'd say Coach, but they say, oh yeah, the daughter on the Donna Reed Show and Coach. And my daughter said, oh, Annette Funicello's friend.
Oh, isn't that
And
something?
she had read Annette Funicello's book. Here, my daughter's only 13, but she remembers you as being that. And you played a role, I think, in that movie, didn't you?
I played myself.
You
in the
played
movie.
yourself. That's
Yes.
right. And so between your two names, Funicello and Fabares, that's quite a combination there. Were you on the Mickey Mouse Club?
No, not in actuality. Well, yes, I was, but not as a Mouseketeer. They used to have on the Mickey Mouse Club. They had, if you'll remember, 15-minute serials. One was called
Right.
Spin and Marty.
Right.
One they did was called the Annette serial. And it was the story of Annette, who played a young farm girl who moved into town.
Right.
And it was her difficulty with some of the new girls, or some of the girls in town being not very nice to her. And I played one of the not so nice town girls. I had my character's name. I don't remember all the characters that I played, but for some reason that one stays with
Shelley, not so nice?
me. Not so nice.
Impossible.
Oh no, very possible indeed. My name was Moselle Corey, and
Okay.
that was when Annette and I became
Great.
best girlfriends.
We're talking with Shelley Fabares, and now that I've got her name down, I can pronounce it that way. And we'll be joined in just a minute by Jimmy Hawkins, one of the kids in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Shelley and I and Jimmy will talk just for a couple of minutes as we continue on WHO Radio. Talking about the Donna Reed Foundation, and Donna Reed was type of an angel as well. Shelley Fabares is telling us that today. Jimmy Hawkins has now joined us by phone.
I like that song.
Well, I do
Good
too.
one.
I know that voice.
How are you, Shelley?
I'm great, honey. How are you?
Good, good.
Jimmy Hawkins is an Emmy-winning Hollywood producer. He was the youngest son in It's a Wonderful Life, and he's going to be helping host the 50th anniversary celebration of It's a Wonderful Life in Denison coming up on June 22nd, and we'll talk with Jimmy about that in just a minute. Well, let's talk about you two together, Jimmy and Shelley. In terms of the foundation, why don't you tell us how you got involved now?
Well, I got a call from Shelley one day, and she was shaping the festival, and said there was going to be a meeting at Grover Asmus's home to find out where we can best serve Donna's memory. And we all got together, and out of that meeting started this festival.
So, Jimmy, Donna had that kind of impact on you as well, that you wanted to do something in her honor.
Oh, you bet. She was a terrific lady, and she was always supportive of us kids and would listen to us and would always make a phone call here and there to see how we were doing. And she was just a terrific lady, and it wasn't hard for us to start this festival.
Well, because not all Hollywood people are terrific. Maybe it's just today, because of all the tabloids, we see their warts, put out in public. And of course, they didn't have too many tabloids back then, but it seems like today, not everybody who stars in her own sitcom is an angel or is the kind of person that you want to use as a role model, right?
It seems that kind of negative publicity has come out lately, yes, But Donna was a very nice lady. She was terrific to work with on the set, and like I said, she was always there for her kids.
Shelley, let me ask about you and Jimmy working together, because I know Jimmy appeared on the Donna Reed Show then.
Yes.
And
Jimmy was two different people. He was he was George. First he was George, my boyfriend George, and then he was Scotty. I've never been quite clear exactly how the transformation took place. But
well, I like to say my name was George Scotty.
That's it. Actually, Jimmy and I have worked together. Jimmy is the only person I know who's been doing this, actually probably even longer than I have, but at least as long as I have. Jimmy was the star of several series before the Donna Reed Show, but he was one of the stars of a series called the Annie Oakley series.
Sure.
And I had the pleasure of playing in one episode of Annie Oakley.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. So,
And then
Shelley and I have known each other since 1953 or 4 when we worked together on the Annie Oakley series.
Weren't you in some Elvis movies together, too?
Yes.
Yes, Shelley was Elvis's leading lady in 3 films, and in 2 of them I was his sidekick.
I mean, are you two guys just attached permanently, or
Oh, yes.
It just seems like, as I read through your backgrounds, it seemed like, my goodness, it's amazing how many different things you crossed over and worked on together.
Well, Jimmy will get embarrassed, and et cetera, but that's okay. Jimmy is truly one of the most wonderful people you could ever meet in the world, and yes, I consider us joined at the hip. He is absolutely a part of my being.
That's
and
great.
He is just the dearest of friends. And I would also like to say that he has been, you're talking to a wonderful person to talk about the any of the events going on back here, because Jimmy has been just wildly instrumental in making things happen for this festival over the years.
Great.
It's really remarkable.
Shelley, one more question for both of you before we have to let Shelley go. And this is about sitcoms. I'm a college professor at Grandview College here in Des Moines. I teach a class called Sitcoms. It's a senior seminar in which we study classes from study sitcoms from the 50s through the 90s, and we sit and watch them, and we watch Donna Reed. And my students yesterday and I were talking. And one of the things we wanted to hear from both of you was your perspective on sitcoms from the 50s versus sitcoms today. Very often, the Donna Reed Show and others get criticized as being unrealistic. And as I watched some of the episodes, sure enough, Donna had her pearls on while she was cleaning and had her dress on. And my attitude is kind of, what's wrong with that? It set kind of a nice example. It was a pleasant show to watch. From your perspectives now, with all of your backgrounds, and Jimmy's been in all sorts of different sitcoms and appeared as a guest star in Leave It to Beaver and Dennis the Menace and others. What do you think about that whole idea of comparing sitcoms from back then to sitcoms today?
Well, I'll just say, first of all, I think, comparing sitcoms from then to the sitcoms of today is like comparing life then to life today. Of course, there are differences because the world is different and our experiences are different. The things that are available to us are different. But I think, I think what happened in the shows in the 50s and 60s, but specifically in the 50s, what the shows addressed were basic, fundamental, traditional family values. And it is true that problems were wrapped up inside of, a half an hour, inside of 23 minutes. And but the fact is, that still happens in situation comedies today.
Right.
The main difference, as I see it, is that there is more freedom in terms of what you can say, what you can do, what you can show, the subjects that can be talked about. So it makes the shows seem like they're a lot different. But if you look at them, they really are still dealing with, and this is true basically just of the situation comedies, with basic fundamental family situations. And I think for most of us, the things that kids talk about in families today are more than things kids talked about in families in the 50s.
That's
well,
true.
that was reflected in the television
I agree with
show.
you. Jimmy, what's your perspective?
Well, my thought is I liked the sitcoms of the 50s and 60s. And what my thoughts are is it may not be the way it was, just the way it should be. And that's the way I feel. It was good, values, positive, and I think if there were more of those things happening, I feel the world would be a better place.
Or it may not have been that way for everybody, but there are some families, I think, that functioned pretty well back in the 50s.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Just like the Donna Reed Show
think
people.
So.
Yeah.
Sure, because that's the kind of shows they were watching,
That's right.
and that was what they looked up to.
That's right. Well, Shelley, thank you for spending time with us today, and I think Donna would be very proud of you and what you're doing and your involvement here.
Well, I certainly hope so. I thank you.
I'm thrilled to have with me as my last guest this morning, Shelley Fabares. Shelley is the star of the TV series Coach. And Shelley, welcome back to WHO Radio.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be back and talk with you and everyone else.
We talked to you last year a little bit about the festival, and Shelley, I'm just surprised at how many people aren't aware of what goes on in Denison for that 1 week in June. It's just amazing, all the workshops and scholarship activities and performances and some really exciting things. Why don't you tell the people where did this all get started? How did you guys come up with this?
Well, first of all, I'll agree with you that it always surprises me that the few people that seem to know about this, and we've been back there for many years now. But hopefully with people like you talking to us and talking about the festival, more people will learn about it and will be able to come and join us. Anyway, it seemed to us a good idea to incorporate Donna's two lives, her very, very much her life in Los Angeles and in the motion picture business, but also the life that she, while she physically left it behind, she never left Denison far behind. She always came back for visits. As all of us have said, if you knew Donna for any more than 2 minutes, you had heard about Iowa and about Denison, and she was not someone who was just from there. It remained a very vital part of her life. Her family.
But when you started asking people from Hollywood to come out to this little Iowa town, did that seem unusual to people out there?
Well, it was interesting. The first year, Grover and I started calling people, and we called people that first year who were directly connected with the Donna Reed Show, that we knew had absolutely worked with Donna. And what we said was, we're not quite sure what we're doing. We're not quite sure how it's going to work, but this is what we're doing in Donna's hometown, in her memory, and to a person, they all said, I'll be there. I would love to do it. Most of them didn't know where Denison was exactly. These were all very busy people, but Donna was such a remarkable person that everybody wanted to do it. It was interesting. I said to everybody that we invited, there may be more of us than there are students. And in fact, that was basically true. That first year, there were 17, we brought back 17 people to teach classes, and there were somewhere about 9 to 12, 13 students. It was sort of, if you remember the old Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney movies, we've got a barn, we can put on a show.
Yeah.
That was sort of the approach in that first year, and actually the first couple of years. We used storefronts and the backs of stores.
And now, Shelley, when you come back for that week, what do you do? Do you just kind of hang around, go in and out of different workshops, or what?
Well, I never hang around.
You're always doing something, right?
I'm always on a dead run. But what I do, because I don't teach a specific class, I visit in several classes. I will be a guest speaker in your class. My friend Jimmy Hawkins, who is a former actor and a wonderful motion picture producer now, always comes back and teaches the Producing a Movie workshop, and I take part in that. And I go around to sort of look at and check on some of the different classes. But I also, because of my visibility on Coach, I am somebody who can talk to the press, and because the press works in a way that there might be absolutely fascinating, incredibly interesting people there to talk to, but the press works in such a way that they want to talk to somebody who's on a television show. It makes no sense, but that's the way it works.
Yeah.
So I'm used as sort of a point man to talk to the press and to bring as much attention as possible to the festival and to what we're doing there.
Isn't that funny how our society works? They want somebody who's on a show now, who's hot now.
Yes.
But if you're on a show even 5-10 years ago, they don't hardly pay any attention to you anymore unless you're hot now.
It's unbelievable. It is the quintessential example of the 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
It's really a shame because there are, and it doesn't just apply to show business. I mean, it's just in everything. I work for the Alzheimer's Association, and they're just extraordinary people in this organization. But the people that the press want to talk to, for the most part, about this work is me, just because I'm on a television show.
Right.
Now, it happens that I know a lot about Alzheimer's at this point, so I can speak at least somewhat knowledgeably, but certainly not like some of our doctors or some of the people who are really in the trenches day in and day out. Anyway, that is the way our society works, so therefore I'm very grateful to have been in this show for all of these years to be able to bring the focus that I'm able to the work that we're doing now.
And I'm wondering if that doesn't happen with Donna a little bit, because, I mean, Donna was so hot. In the 50s, she starred in some of the biggest films, 40s and 50s, some of the biggest films in Hollywood. Then she had one of the longest-running sitcoms, in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
And yet people tend to go, oh, Donna Reed, well, yeah, I guess I remember her. And it takes someone like you, though, to bring her back to the public eye, to make sure that people are remembering the accomplishments that she accomplished.
Well, I think, yes, it probably does happen to some extent. But, it sort of happens all over the place. There can be just a fabulous person from history, and maybe we've barely heard their name, and then somebody writes a wonderful biography, informative, whatever type, whatever life the person led. Let's say that's what the biography, the tone of the biography, and then we all go, my God, what a fascinating person, and that person can become hot again simply because it's brought to the focus. I don't think it's a good way. I don't think it's a good thing about our society, but I think it's part of our society.
Yeah, it's just a fact of life.
And part of it is also that there are so many new things happening all the time, and as we advance in our technological understanding of things, or at least some of us do, I'm not one of them, I seem to be left behind somewhere back there, but as our world and society advances in terms of technology, and on an hourly basis, more and new information about people, places, and things becomes available to us, and unless it's right there in front of you at that moment, it seems like it was history.
Our guest is Shelley Fabares. She's the star of Coach. She's part of the Donna Reed Foundation. Come back, we're going to ask Shelley about the finishing episodes of Coach. It's going to end this month. Of course, the theme from the Donna Reed Show, the Donna Reed Festival, coming up June 15th to 21st in Denison. Our guest this morning, Shelley Fabares, the star of Coach. Shelley, I'm trying real hard on your name because I remember last time you were on, everybody says Fabares, and you told me it's Fabares.
I was so thrilled, to tell you the truth, when you first introduced me. I sat here and I thought, you said it absolutely, completely correctly.
Oh, good.
Nobody ever does. That's exactly it, Fabares.
Well, thanks. I'm just excited to have you on. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course, let's talk for a minute about Coach. It's coming to an end. One of the long-running sitcoms now of the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
It's going to be a three-part final episode. The first one's going to air next Wednesday.
Yes, that's right, May
and
7th.
Then you said the next two parts are going to air as a 1-hour special.
Yes, on May 14th. That's right.
And what was that like? Had you guys not been canceled before?
No, it's part of the checkered history of our show.
Yeah.
No, we had never been canceled.
You'd been moved a lot, though.
We had been moved
Right.
16 times in the 9 years that we were on the air.
Gosh.
Which, for people who are not familiar with the business, let me just say that to move a show once is very difficult on a show. It's very hard for the audience to find it. Shows rarely survive one move, let alone two. And we've been moved 16 times. And in our 8th year, this was our 9th year that we just completed, but in our 8th year, at that time, I guess we'd had 14 moves because they moved us twice again this last year. It was probably our highest rated year ever. We were like number 2. I mean, it was just extraordinary. We have had the most loyal, wonderful fans imaginable. But no, we were never actually canceled. They several times did not put us on at the top of the season. So people would think that we were off the air because ABC, in its eternal wisdom, would decide that some other show needed to go in that time slot. And then that show, unhappily for them, would fall apart, and they would go, well, my God, we better get... and they'd put us back in, and we'd go right back to the top again. So it was very frustrating. I feel that I think ABC was very nice in the beginning of the series because they kept us on the air when we really didn't have big ratings, and I'm eternally grateful to them for that. But I am regretful that they moved us so many times.
Now, emotionally, what is that like when you finally get the word that the show is going to end?
Horrific, painful, depressing, sad, painful. It's been a very difficult time. I mean, you know, I'm a realist. I understand that everything in show business will come to an end, and but the fact is, I was not ready for it to come to an end now, and nor was anybody else connected with the show.
Wow.
It's the one nice thing is that we get to go out basically on top with people saying, "Oh no, you can't be going off the air."
Yeah.
But I think I again think that ABC made a mistake.
Yeah.
They were worried about the cost of the show for next year, and when we found that out, we said, "Listen, we won't come back next year. But what we want to do instead is to be able to end the show with some closure, because what usually happens is the network will waffle back and forth and will make a decision long after the season is actually finished on the air, and then they just decide, well, no, we're not going to pick the show up, and nobody, the actors, the writers,
there's
the
no
producers,
closure then,
and the audience never has closure.
So you need some closure,
right? So we said, okay, we won't come back next season. We'll take it out of your hands. We're not coming back, and we want to be able to close this show the way we want to. So I will tell you the truth. That's small comfort to me at this moment. I do like the fact that we were able to do the closure, but I just think that ABC, given how popular our show still is, that they would have been very wise on a business sense. Forget about what I wanted to do. They would have been wise to keep us on for another
What's
year.
next for you then? Do you think that way, or is it like, I just want to take a break here, have a breather?
Well, I think both ways. I do need to have a little bit break right now. This is what is normally the end of our season. We've been filming for 8 months, and that's straight through, and that's a long period of time. And if we were coming back next year, this would be my vacation time, and where I just sort of relax a little bit. But because it is, I do need to do that. Besides which, this year, in all honesty, this is a grieving time, because, you know, it really is like a death. The entity that we all were together, even though there are certain people from the show that I know I'll see all the time, and some that I'll see, you know, a little bit of the time, the fact is, what we all were together no longer is.
Yeah.
And after living together for 9 years, spending most of your waking hours together, day in and day out, year in and year out, it's very difficult to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So this is a grieving process that I'm going through at the present time, and I am trying to relax a little bit. My relaxing is still being very busy doing other things, but at least relaxing from the day-to-day work.
Well, and hopefully when you come out to the festival, that will help too. You get to see people again, and people reinforce how special you are and how meaningful it is to have you around here in Iowa.
Oh, how nice. Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. And the fact is, yes, I do always get that feedback when I get back there, and I actually feel it year-round from the people in Denison, but
That's great.
and the people who come to Denison, but it's always nice to have it reinforced. But just to answer the rest of your question, I actually would like to... I would love to do another series if I could find the right one. I like doing series. I like the kind of structure it gives to my life, and but it would have to be a very special one since this one was so sensational. But I would be on the lookout for that, and I would also like to do some producing. I would like to produce a film about Alzheimer's and some other.
Oh, that would be great.
Yes, so I'm looking at some properties right now. I've opened up a production office, and I'm a businesswoman now who goes to the office every day, and happily I'm still on the Universal lot, which is very nice, so I still sort of feel like we're doing the show, because I drive into the same gate and wave at everybody, and anyway, but those are my general plans.
You know, it's hard to believe. Next year is the 40th anniversary of when you started the Donna Reed Show.
Isn't that extraordinary? July 14th, 1958.
It's just unbelievable.
Right.
Shelley, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure again, and I look forward to seeing you in June.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much for coming to be one of our teachers at the festival this year. I'm not sure if we actually mentioned that on the air yet.
I'm
so
excited to do
it.
It's a sitcoms workshop, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Great.
And we'll look for Shelley coming up in the next couple Wednesday nights as Coach finishes up.
Yes, please watch.
And best wishes to you. Shelley Fabares, thanks for being with us. Finish out our time on Winzenburg on the Weekend with Jimmy Hawkins, Emmy-winning Hollywood producer, the youngest son in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and he's hosting the 50th anniversary celebration of the movie It's a Wonderful Life on June 22nd in Denison, Iowa. And Jimmy, you didn't have any background in terms of Iowa, right? You're a Hollywood boy, is that right?
Oh, yeah, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
And what was it like when you first came out here that first time? Was it strange?
Well, no, I used to do the Annie Oakley series, and I would travel on our during the summer and do state and county fairs all over the United States. And I appeared in many towns in Iowa, Mason City and what have you with Gene Autry.
Now, what about this big It's a Wonderful Life celebration? I believe you co-authored a book on the movie, isn't that right?
Yes, I have the It's a Wonderful Life trivia book that
That's
Paul
it.
Peterson and I
That's
wrote.
right.
And now I have a new coffee table, It's a Wonderful Life 50th Anniversary scrapbook coming out.
Oh, great.
It'll be out this October.
Super. What is it about that movie that gets everybody? Why is this considered one of the great movies in our memories?
Oh, because everybody feels that they are George Bailey. They want to feel that if they were ever put in that situation, that they would do the things that George Bailey did. And that makes them feel good. And it's a very positive picture. It's Frank Capra's message was that each man's life touches so many other lives that if they weren't around, it would leave an awful hole. And it shows how important each of us are. And we are all important. When we don't feel we are.
Yeah.
That's what that movie says.
What part did Donna Reed have to play in the success of that film?
Well, she was that the girlfriend, the wife, the mother that America saw itself being. And she portrayed the American wife at that time in our country. Very supportive of her husband, and she just had the attitude that Denison, Iowa instilled in her. Those people instilled in her, and she brought that to Hollywood. And that's why all the people who were involved in the festival, what Denison gave to her, she gave to Hollywood, and now they come back and it come full circle, and they've given back to Denison basically what Denison gave Donna.
There is something in her eyes when you watch her on film. She just sparkles, doesn't she?
Oh, she just was terrific. You just love that lady. You just want her as your mom, you know. You go, oh, this is a great lady.
How old were you when the movie was made?
I was 4.
Do you remember anything, or is it just merely through watching the film that you recall things?
No, I remember vividly Frank Capra squatting down and telling me what he wanted me to do in the film and in a certain scene. I remember I wore a Santa Claus mask around my neck, and Frank Capra had Jimmy Stewart pull me into him in the film, and I remember the inside of the mask kept scratching my cheek. And I wondered, why does this man keep pulling me and doing this, you know? Because we'd rehearsed and then shoot it, and the same thing happened. But I noticed that my mom instilled in me or whatever that you've got to pretend this is the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
So even though I knew this was going to happen, that this man was going to scrape his mask, I just pretended that's the first time.
And now you're part of that famous shot there near the end where they're all hugging and together.
That's right.
What a wonderful shot, a wonderful scene.
Yeah, it's just terrific. And that was a big moment in Donna Reed's life when she pointed out that scene meant so much to her, to be a part of it. And as that camera panned, she saw all these great supporting cast players and stars, and she just felt such an honor to be a part of that cast.
Yeah, that's great.
She loved that film.
Let me ask you about the swimming pool scene, because when I watched the movie, I'm being very honest with you, I'm 41, and that scene still scares me, where they fall in the swimming pool.
Well, isn't that funny? Because I've been to that swimming pool. It's an actual pool at Beverly Hills High School.
And it actually opens up, the gymnasium floor opens up.
Right.
And there's a swimming pool underneath it.
Right.
Now, did Donna actually fall in the pool like that, or was that a stunt person?
She had a stunt double. Jimmy Stewart did his own, but Donna Reed had a gal named Lila Finn.
Okay, that answered a question for me.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't. It's funny because when I saw the film, it looked like they fell a long way.
Yeah.
But when you're right there, it's just a couple feet.
It looks so ominous when it starts to open up and you see that they're headed that direction. It just seems very ominous.
I know, but if you're there, it's just a little drop, and you go, "Wow, that's funny." Because I thought it was going to be a big cavern, and they fall into it. But no, I've had it opened up for us, and it wasn't a big deal.
Is that
But
something?
I agree with you. Yes, the film, it looks really, oh my gosh, something bad's going to happen.
Well, I'm really happy to read your credits. You've had some wonderful things. You did a movie called A Time for Miracles that I saw. It was the story of Mother Seton.
Yes.
And also a great Disney movie called Love Leads the Way about seeing eye dogs.
Yeah,
and,
that was the story of the first seeing eye dog in America and the young man who thought up the idea.
But you've done really positive shows. And do you attribute some of that to the influence that people like Donna Reed have had on you?
Oh, definitely. I just gravitate to that kind of film. It's very difficult to get those positive, uplifting films made.
Yeah.
But, I kind of gravitate to them, and the stories that they tell are the struggles that these people went through, whether it be the Satchel Paige story with Lou Gossett, or Mother Seton, or Love Leads the Way, or some of the other things I've done. It's somebody overcoming great obstacles.
Well, like I said to Shelley, I think Donna would also be proud of you, Jimmy, just to see the positive influence you're having in some of these films. It's wonderful. And it also says a lot about Donna, too, I think, that she had
really
influence
does.
on
She's
this.
just a terrific lady, and we would like to have her proud of us, and to have her children carry on her thoughts and things that she believed in. Shelley's been a terrific force, though.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really been the glue that keeps this whole thing together and brings the attention so that we can give a $10,000 scholarship.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Hawkins, for being with us.